how to reduce your back pain with these simple steps. And you might ask, well, James, how did you come up with the topic in the first place? Be it that I work predominantly with limb difference and limb loss individuals, and I myself have the impairment. I obviously know that I've suffered with back pain, so from time to time, so I know it is a problem area with those individuals. So the simple steps for obviously reducing back pain is, number one is, I say it's simple, is are you doing any form of resistance training? And what I mean by this is comes into three major areas of are you strengthening your buttocks, your hips, and obviously to some extent, obviously either loosening off your lower back, or it might come down to you need to strengthen it. So come down to those three components from the strength and conditioning perspective. If the back is tight, obviously we need to do something with the front of the body, or the frontal plane, so obviously the abdominals. So you need to look to obviously strengthen those, and potentially loosening off the hip flexors. So as the pandemic has proven, this is disabled and non, that we are obviously more sedentary before COVID, and obviously we'd been doing homeschooling, working from home. The problem is obviously going to manifest and become progressively worse. So there's going to be tightness in the groin area, so predominantly the hip flexors. So obviously has a knock-on effect on your back. So it's a little bit like an X in your body. So whatever's tight, obviously the other component is going to be weak. So that's tip number one. Obviously the strength and conditioning point of view of it. Obviously every amputee has gone through rehab and had to do their exercises. My second point, with when you're prescribed something, do it. It doesn't matter if what course of the journey you're on, if you're at the beginning, the middle portion, or at the end. If you don't do something, you don't use it, you lose it. So pretty much, if you don't do what you've been prescribed, or do nothing at all, that is obviously going to manifest and be a lot worse. So do that what you're prescribed. So a little bit of something is better than nothing, as I've always been told. I don't know if that comes from my mum or my grandmother. The third point is what I mentioned. There's no point doing ab exercises because it's BS. And why I said that is because you can't outrun a poor diet. So if, for argument's sake, you have tightness in your back, plus you are eating more than you are exercising, so I mean you are consuming more than you're expending, you're going to have tightness in your back and your gut's going to be enormous. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but obviously that's the truth. So that's going to have a problematic effect on your posture as well. So if one area is weak, something has to pick up the strain and compensate. And having I almost call it bilateral, I'm not a bilateral amputee, a unilateral amputee or a single leg, everybody knows that you compensate with your good side, because you're making up for the discrepancies in the other side. So we're trying to alleviate some of that. Obviously we're not going to be able to get rid of it completely, because unilaterally you're going to be stronger on one side than the other. So it's trying to lower that actual risk. For a bilateral amputee, there's really no excuse, because unless your amputations are, one is slightly longer than the others, you're symmetrical, so you shouldn't have some of these problems. If you're doing obviously step 1 and 2 beforehand. bad thing going back to and revisiting that, because it's not a regression or you're going backwards to go back to basic exercises, because ultimately if you're not doing anything and you're either sat in a chair or sat around in the office like I am, or sat in front of the TV and you don't do anything, you're just going to make that situation 10 times worse. Our population is more paramount because if we don't do the simple things on a daily basis, it'll catch up to us. So